to give you a little bit of background in the beginning about JFS. This is our new building for those of you who have never been to the building or who haven't been there in a while. We were founded in 1913. We were one of 7 agencies to found the community chest. And it was part of the tenet of Tikkun Olam was to help those around you in the community. And so the community chest became United Way. So we are actually a founding member of United Way. They don't support every program at JFS, but they do support several of our programs. And over the years, since 1913, JFS has modified our services to provide assistance based upon the community need. So back in the 50s and 60s and even 70s, I think, we were doing a lot of adoption services for the community. So if people wanted to adopt a Jewish child, we were making those matches. And then in the 80s, we got the Russian resettlement. And so we did a lot of the families that are here from Russia actually came through JFS. And then in the last probably 7 years or so, we've done a lot of disaster assistance. So we've been the primary agency that served for floods, and unfortunately. And now we're also providing coverage for COVID. So even though a lot of agencies have shut down, JFS has not shut down. We've been providing services and all of our staff have been active. We've not furloughed anybody at this point. So here are some of our ongoing services. We have our behavioral and mental health services program, and that includes counseling. We do counseling for children, for families. We do group counseling. And currently we've transitioned all of our one-to-one counseling to either phone counseling if somebody doesn't have computer access, or we'll do Zoom counseling. And the Zoom account that we host is a HIPAA compliant version. We have been able to obtain that service through Zoom. So that's assisted us to be able to continue what we do. We have our mental health first aid program, which is a training program to help people that are in the community to learn how to respond to people that may be in crisis. We did first responder training for Houston, the city of Houston, in particular the fire department and the police department. So we've trained them how to respond to depression, to psychiatric clients that are showing stress. And so we've been able to assist with that. We also did the city of Santa Fe that had the school shooting. We have a suicide prevention program that we're doing, and it is primarily focused on teenagers. We actually start at middle school, do middle school and teen, college, and young adult. And it's a text-based program with motivational text that they receive once a week. And they know that if they are in crisis or if they know of somebody in crisis, they can text back to that number and get immediate assistance. It is not crisis counseling in that if somebody's suicidal, but it is somebody that they can reach out if they're starting to feel that they're going in that direction. And that was brought about because of all of the young adult suicides that we've seen over the last few years. And then the last part of that department is our individual outpatient. And it's a group that meets, it's people who have been hospitalized for mental issues and are transitioning back into society. So they don't need to be hospitalized, but they're also on the margins, whereas if they're in their home alone, they might end up needing to go back to the hospitalization. So they're meeting online at this point in their groups and supporting each other and learning how to transition back into society in a healthful manner. We have our case management program, and that is our senior adult services program. It's a component of United Way. We do outreach to 29 zip codes in Southwest Houston. We actually go all the way to Richmond, Rosenberg, and we provide assistance for seniors and or their family members. We do financial aid for Jewish families in the greater Houston area. And we will also do financial aid for disaster assistance when we have those funds available. So there's a stigma affiliated with need. I think all of us have heard it or seen it, family members or friends that might just need a little help, and they're scared to go to somebody. They might go to their rabbi, and a lot of times the rabbis do referrals to us, and they're able to get help through us, and that's what we're here for. As a Jewish agency and as a United Way agency, is to be able to provide when people need it, and then when they get back stabilized, they can give back to us in order to feel like they weren't alone. So another program that we have is our Disability Services program. We house the Alexander Institute for Inclusion, which is the host agency for the Real Abilities Film and Arts Festival. And I know that HCRJ has been really active within the last few years, that y'all host films in-house, and they set up popcorn, and we bring some of those screenings in. It is a free festival with the exception of our Up-Ability speaking session, and it's open to the whole community to break down that stigma affiliated with disabilities and show that people with disabilities still have unique abilities of their own. We also have our Celebration Company, which is our entrepreneurial arm of our our disability services program. They are participants, and we call them employees at Celebration Company. They create product that's sold in our store. They also do internships within the community. So some of them are at the JCC when it's open. Some of them are at Walgreens, at CVS. We have somebody who's working for a Whataburger. They're a greeter, and they hand out samples at Whataburger. So we've outreached into the general community and not just at Jewish agencies. And the hope is that they're able to get out in the community and bring in some support for themselves so that they feel like they're an active and valued part of the community. We also do educational outreach so that if families have children with ADHD or HDD or autism, that they can come to our agency, and we have people who are trained in those areas and can be an advocate for the family within their schools. So we have counselors that'll work with the kids in addition, or they'll just do advocacy and go to ARDS and help the families understand what they can accept from schools or what they can ask for from schools. We have our employment services program, and we work with both traditional and non-traditional clients. Our non-traditional clients include people who may have had strokes and had to transition away from their regular employment and are now trying to transition back into something else in order to be able to bring in income for their family. It could also be a senior that retired and because of an income drop needs to get back into the working world. And so we help to find ways for people to be able to do that so that they can bring in the income they need so that they're not feeling like they're having to live off of assistance from an agency. We host workshops through our employment services program that will help people to learn about different jobs that are out there or skills that they might need. And then we also do job coaching. So we can match people up with a mentor, and they can assist them with focusing on either their networking that they're doing, or once they're in a job, if they need somebody to help them to kind of fit into that job, we'll provide those coaches. And so it's a benefit to companies to support us because we're able to provide that support that they would pay for otherwise, or they would lose employees and transition through them, and that can be a very expensive cost as it is. We have our Jewish chaplaincy program. Hope Lipnick is our chaplain, and I know she did a program also through HCRJ that I know my mom actually participated in. It was after my dad had passed away, and she has been with the chaplaincy program for 30-something years. We've been running the program for probably 13 or 15 years, I'm not real sure. We have 20 volunteers that participate with this. They go to hospitals in the Texas Medical Center, in particular MD Anderson, St. Luke's Methodist, but we're also at Herman Hospital, Memorial Southwest Hospital, and then Methodist Hospital in Sugar Land. And unfortunately with COVID, we're not allowed back in, but Hope has been able to do some outreach to families when they've contacted us and let us know that they have family members that are in the hospital. She's in particular been able to support some of the families that are frustrated because they can't go and be with their family members. It's a really tough situation right now, and we're trying to figure out the best way for us to transition that program during this event. And I've got a video here. It's only a minute and a half, so I'm going to go on and play it, and it's talking about our chaplaincy program.
Hi, my name is Sister Charak, and I live in Puerto Rico. 7 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with myelofibrosis. Our doctors here told us that there was nothing they could do, and we should go to the States. We arrived in MD Anderson, frightened and overwhelmed. We didn't know anyone. While waiting for the first appointment, this wonderful lady approached us. She had the perfect name of what we needed, Hope. She spoke to us about the work of JFS and the hospital. She assured us that we were no longer alone. She became our family, our friend, our hope, along with a wonderful crew, Ray, Dan, Cindy. We were never alone anymore. We spent 6 years in and out of the hospital, sometimes for periods as long as 8 months at a time, but we were never alone again. The highlights of our days were their visits. They made us laugh, they helped us when we cried. We would not have been able to survive this journey without them. They brought light into our darkness. Unfortunately, my husband passed away last year. Hope stayed with me and my children until the end. She guided us and helped us. We were very lost. I am very grateful for your organization, the chaplaincy program, for Hope, for the volunteers. Please continue your amazing work. You are needed. God bless you all.
Sandwich first, thank you. I appreciate it.
So I will also share that this woman, Esther, her granddaughter lives in this area now, and she created Shabbat Boxes. And I don't know if any of you have the experience with the Shabbat Box program, but on Fridays, our volunteers have a list of Jewish clients or Jewish patients in the hospital, and they take them a box that's been decorated by a bar bat mitzvah student, and it contains challah, which now our rolls are being made by New York Bagels. They're the kosher rolls of our choice at this time. Grape juice, some mints, and some prayers. And it also provides that bit of Shabbat for them. If somebody wants candles, they can't light candles, but we have the little tea lights that have batteries, and we'll provide that for them as well. And so we were very lucky to see that not only did this family take our services, but then they gave back to our agency through their Shabbat Box program. And the granddaughter also, for her B'nai Mitzvah, asked for all donations to go to our chaplaincy program. So it's the give and take that helps to support us. Hope also provides hospice assistance if people are in need of that. And then our last program that we like to talk about is our volunteer services program. And we support all of our agencies, departments through volunteer services. We usually have volunteers that help in some way, whether maybe for counseling, it might be in an administrative position. Celebration Company has tons of volunteers. Chaplaincy, like I said, has 20 volunteers. So we're doing that. And right now, we are also doing outreach into the community by using our volunteers. Since they're not able to come into our building, we've got our COVID Cards for Caring program that's running. And this is kind of an example of some of those cards that have been made over the last few weeks. How has COVID affected our services? We are 100% going. We are providing counseling through, as I said, Zoom or phone. Celebration Company, our participants are receiving boxes every week. The staff prepare a box for them and go to their homes and drop it off and then pick up the product that they made from the week before. So our clients are still, our participants are still rolling candles in their homes. This is Maggie. She loves to roll candles. And so she's doing what she needs. We sell 60,000 candles for Hanukkah. So it's one of those things that are needed year round. It's not just in December. Our employment staff are actively working with people who have been furloughed or laid off. They're assisting them with getting on to unemployment, which has been very frustrating lately. They're also assisting them with signing up for SNAP and or for getting disability services. Our chaplain has been active working with families. Our case managers have become super shoppers. We have a lot of seniors that are at risk and cannot leave their homes to go and get groceries. And in particular, in the beginning, the grocery stores weren't delivering very well. And so some of these families also don't have the funds available because SNAP wasn't available through the online shopping. So our case managers, we're getting grocery lists, we're going into the stores, we're shopping for the families, taking them to their door, dropping them at the door, backing up, making sure that the clients came to the door and they were able to get their items in. If not, they were masked, gloved, and they would walk the items in and then come back out. So they've been doing this since day one. Our development team has been active. We were supposed to be having a big event at the end of this month. It was our annual fundraiser, JFS Live on May 27th, and we're no longer able to host that event. We are going to be having our raffle draw, so we will still be giving away the car. And so all of our raffle donors have gotten a link to that event so we can do that. And in the meantime, our development team is trying to figure out where we go from here and how we bring in those funds. We're trying to make sure that we're able to get the funds in that people promised us and explain to them why we still need those funds. And then our communications have strengthened. If you are not on our newsletter list, then you've been missing all of our good stuff. And you can sign up by going to our website. And it used to be called Family Talk once a month. Now we've moved to Family Matters. And we're sending that out every Tuesday and Friday with some updates. And I actually create those pieces. So what are our community needs that we're seeing right now? People are struggling. They are worried, they're anxious, they're feeling isolated, they're feeling depressed. And so they're reaching out to our counseling department. We have free online counseling for adults that's still going Monday through Friday. And then we have our online counseling as well. We're seeing loss of income. People are being laid off. People are being furloughed. People who own their businesses are having to shut their doors. And so we're seeing the need for for financial assistance. The Federation, which we were talking about before we started this, is actually acting as a strong part of our fundraising arm. They'll bring in funds and then they'll distribute it based upon their committee associations. And they've assisted with us in building an intake so that we can show them the need, and we're reporting to them on a weekly basis. Loss of purpose. This happens with people who have lost their jobs. It's also happening with our volunteers. You know, they may have been retirees that really looked forward to their once a week or twice a week going out and volunteering, not just with us, but with anything. And they're not able to do that anymore. And so we're working with people on how we can help in that manner. And then the last thing is frustration. People are getting frustrated. They're frustrated by the event. They're frustrated by what they're hearing in the news and the media. They're frustrated over when are they going to be able to get out of their homes? When are they going to be able to go to restaurants? And they're also frustrated hearing that restaurants are opening, feeling like it's too soon. So we're trying to assist in any way possible by helping families as they need us. We are actively networking with companies that are looking at hiring. I know just Friday, I got a call that we have an attorney who's looking for a legal assistant. So we're actively placing people in jobs, even though we're not a job placement agency, we're trying to do that. Our staff are assisting with helping families get benefits and get into a good place to where they have stable income. We're providing opportunities for people so that they have feel complete and feel like they can do what's needed. If people want to give to us, we of course accept financial donations. We also have online giving. We have an Amazon wish list put up. We have pantry drop-offs, and we have our COVID cards of caring. So we've got all of that. We're helping management of expectations with reality. In particular, our disability clients that are frustrated because they can't see their friends. Our celebration company people who, you know, are used to being together 5 days a week and are now not able to. We are providing counseling, as I had said before. We've increased our communications, and this is an example, and Justin has a copy of this flyer if anybody needs it. It gives the information about our sessions and case management services, disability and employment services. So if you need it, or if you know of somebody who needs it, Justin or I can provide that to you, and then you can share it with those that need it.
Yeah, I'll send it out. I'll just send it out to everyone attending after the event.
And then we are also providing financial assistance. Right now, we are big time looking for those people who are going back to school. We have our student loans and scholarship programs. We do 2 scholarships a year. And as of last week, they'd had 1 application turned in. And they can apply for a loan, they can apply for just the scholarship, or they can apply for both. We're trying to make sure that they understand that we know everybody's struggling. Some of the schools may not be going back into session in the fall, but apply. Worst thing happens is you end up coming back to us and say, look, I'm gonna hold off for a year, but it's better to have these students getting out there. It's a 0 interest loan. And I will tell you, I did it for both of my kids. It's $25 a month payment, which pretty much everybody can do that. Or they've got the scholarships that are out there. So if you know of somebody this is for Jewish students only, not open to the whole community. If you know of somebody who has kids or grandkids or friends, family, make sure that they're aware of it. The deadline is changed to June 1st. So they need to get out there and get that in. What can you do? If you get our emails, share them. Let people know that we're out there. Let people know that we can help. If you're on social media, join our social media. Reach out to people. And if you hear that they just need to talk, listen, be that ear. If they don't want to call a counselor, just be the ear for them. If you need to, reach out to Rabbi Gross, reach out to Justin, let him know that there's a need. and let them reach out or find them some assistance. We're doing cards. We've passed out over 550 cards to seniors through various different facilities. And if you have the means, donations are always welcome. So how can you reach us? Our phone number is there. Our website is always open. And you can also direct message us on Facebook. I'm an administrator on our Facebook page, and our social media person, Andy Pelagi, who runs our JFS, our Real Abilities, is our manager as well. So one of us will respond to anybody who's in need. We are HIPAA compliant, we are HIPAA trained, we won't share your information with anybody, and we'll get you to the right place. And last but not least, please remember, everybody needs a little help from their friends. So that's my presentation. I know I talked a lot. Does anybody have questions?
I have one comment and question. First, on your Shabbat boxes in the hospitals. Quick story, when my mother was in the hospital 4 or 5 years ago, she got one of those boxes and was more enamored with the box itself. It was really very cute than the contents. And she saved it, and she still has it. But about 18 months later, she was back in the hospital. It was on a Friday. She knew she was going to be over there Friday night. And she commented on Thursday, I hope I get another one of those cute boxes. They really made an impression on her. So pass that along.
Yeah, my dad was in the hospital, and he got one. And when he got better, he actually came to the agency and said, I want to be one of those people that does it. And so for 3 years, he was able to do the Shabbat boxes until he got sick again. So it's one of those things that makes a difference.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Quick question. Are your suicide prevention, your suicide support, is that available to non-Jews?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. So our source of strength is the text-based program that's middle school, high school, and college. And it does have more of the Jewish tenant flair, but it's open to anybody who wants those messaging.
Okay.
And then the mental health first aid is open to anybody. And they have been doing it at the Jewish facilities because we have that access, but they've also done it outside in the community.
Okay.
And I think they have actually also done some online training. I know that they, in the beginning of this with COVID, they went to the ADL and they worked with their staff as well, so that their staff understood the frustrations, because they were kind of feeling desperate and worried about all of the Zoom bombing that was happening. That was very, so that was an issue as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Good, Lauren. Good.
Oh, I had a couple. Well, first of all, this is really helpful. And I had heard about the COVID cards of caring, and that like people at 7 Acres are getting them. I was wondering if you guys were also partnering with Brookdale.
Yes.
In the gallery. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We just dropped off, I think 120 something last week at Brookdale Galleria.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so they are doing them. I don't think they're doing the Brookdale Meyerland location. They already had a program started with somebody else, but they're doing, I think, also maybe the Brookdale in River Oaks, 7 Acres, the Medallion, Gardens of Bel Air, and there's another one that's over off of Buffalo Speedway, and I can't remember its name all of a sudden.
Okay. So yeah, my mom's there. I don't know if she got one or not at the Brookdale and Galleria.
I checked with my mother-in-law yesterday. She's at 7 Acres, and I was like, have you gotten a card? She's like, yeah, but I thought it was just one of the regular cards. So.
Oh, okay. I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Also, well, I have a couple kids at home, and I was trying to think of how they could best get involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like things like the Shabbat boxes, the COVID cards of caring, you know, those are a couple of ways that local Jewish kids could help the community.
Right. Right now, our Shabbat boxes are on hold because we've got a whole bunch of them and we can't deliver them.
Right.
So those are on hold. We've been trying to find a way to make those deliveries, but they don't want outside items coming in. They're worried about the contamination factor.
Yeah.
So, but we are still doing the COVID cards of caring. We're also doing our food pantry. For a while was very, very bare. And so we had some families that did food drives. They just asked people to drop off canned goods or boxed goods onto their porch, and then they would sanitize them, they boxed them, and then they brought them to us.
Okay, so you guys are a repository for food donations.
So we are doing that, and we have gotten that in our pantry. We also have an Amazon wish list out. If you go onto our website, there's a button up at the top that talks about COVID, and you click on that, it lists the items that we need for our pantry.
Okay, I'll check that out.
And we do more than just pantry stuff. We do shampoo, we do, laundry detergent, anything a senior or somebody with disabilities might need in order to be able to assist them while they're at home.
Great. And one last question, since I have a psychology background, I was wondering about like training for mental health first aid, if you guys need people like throughout the community to be trained in that, or if you just have specific groups that you partner with for that.
We actually do. We actually do a train the trainers. So we train people to be trainers to go out into the community and speak at different events. So they may go to a Hadassah meeting and do a training. So absolutely reach out. If you go on to our website, we actually have a secondary website called mentalhealthletstalk.org.
Okay.
And that's where our mental health first aid will be. But if you go to our website, you should be able to find it from there as well.
Okay.
Giddy Silver Francis is the person that leads that program. And she's her husband is the headmaster for the Jewish school that's, I don't know if he's at Torah Day School or not. I know her kids go to Torah Day School, so maybe so. I don't know. He's a rabbi.
Okay. I'll check it out then.
Lene, can you, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I have a question also. In regards to the scholarships, we're not at that age yet, but I'm just wondering, like how much are the scholarships, and are they, need-based? Are they academic? How is it? What are the criteria?
So the scholarships have been, and it's really going to depend upon income distribution based upon the economy. But in the past, the scholarships have been $7,500, and they are somewhat need-based, but more so they're based upon social interactions within the community. They want to see that they've been involved in the community and that they've been giving back to the community as well. So it really kind of depends. And like I said, if we only have one person that completes an application this year and their parents don't make $1 million, then most likely they're going to be our scholarship winner. Usually we have enough to where they go through and they're able to go through the committee and distribute those. And if they have more than 2 people that are applying for the scholarship, and they'll go through their committee process, and then they'll also offer them the student loan if they don't get the scholarship. So it kind of goes from there. And the scholarships and student loans are available for undergrad, grad, and vocational training. So if somebody is not going into a traditional college program, but is going into a nursing program, then this is available for them as well.
And is it a one-time thing, or they can apply each year they're in school?
So there is a max as to how much they'll give you, and I can't remember what it is. I want to say that it's close to $7,000, but I'm not sure, and that may have changed. I know with my kids, my oldest son, when he went in, he got a certain amount for his freshman year. And unfortunately, I was working for the Federation at that time, and I was laid off at the end of his freshman year after the Madoff scandal. And so my daughter had applied and had already been approved for a student loan for her freshman year. So they came back to me and they just they extended the full amount to my son for his sophomore year. And then for my daughter, they upped hers to be the maximum for her freshman year. So they're aware of what's going on. If you reach out to them and say that, you know, our family situation's changed, we need a little help, and they'll go from there. And as I said, the repayment program begins in the beginning, but it's only $25 a month, like for the first year, and I think it goes to $50 the second year. So unless you have a whole bunch of kids in college at the same time, it's affordable. And at 0 interest, you can't pass it out. It's there.
Excellent. Okay. Good information.
Lene, can you talk about the new building and, you know, the expansion and how that happened, what's been added, all that type of stuff? Because when it was, and yeah. Because I remember when I volunteered there, I guess in 2016, that's when it was sort of starting a little bit.
Right. So what happened was we moved into our building I guess I'm trying to think of, they moved into this that original building that I moved into when I started there in 2011, and it was the white side of the building. And right where the bricks are, can y'all see this? I think I'm still screen sharing.
Mhm.
Okay, so where the bricks are and the murals are, that's the new side. That used to be the driveway for our building. And what happened is when they moved into the white building, we filled up. Services were needed, and we ended up putting 2 people in an office that was built for 1. And then they said, well, we want to bring Celebration Company into our building as well. And so the red building is actually the Alexanders underwrote that. There were actually 7 families that underwrote that building. We didn't have to do a fundraiser. We didn't do a capital campaign. It was, we got the word out that this was what the need was, and those families stepped up and said, here, we're going to give you this amount, and we were able to do it. It was right around that same time when we had started having, or I guess it was just before the floods, but it was after Ike. And so when they built the building, they said, we need to make sure that we are covered. So they have 13 pipes that are at least 5 feet in diameter underneath that brick building, underneath our parking lot, and in the green space between our building and the street. And those those act as water tanks for us when there's a flood or a rain event. And we thought actually during Harvey we were flooding because we had cameras that would show the water was 3 feet up on the fence line out on the street. No water got into our building. And so we were one of the only buildings in that section from UOS to Stella Link and beyond that did not have water in it. Celebration Company is down in this lower section. This is actually the entrance to the gift shop. And then their space is the whole downstairs of that building. Up above where these windows are is our boardroom. And in the hallways next to it is our employment services program and our case management. And all of those are active working filled offices. Our employment services will be expanding because of COVID, and we will be opening up. We may become a job placement service. It's going to depend upon the need and what we see. Is that pretty much it, Justin, or you want me to say more?
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, did it like double in size or not that much? I mean,
it actually did double in size. Yeah. We wanted to we used the same people who, it was a different architect, but the new architect used a lot of the same strategies as the original building in order to keep it. Actually, right here where these 3 windows are, that's my office. My desk is here. On the right side window, there are actually 3 desks in this one space. And so I have Melanie Cole Goldberg, who is our part-time volunteer coordinator, which is what my job was before I went into corporate and community. Toby Brown, who is our volunteer, who's in charge of our volunteer teams that do chaplaincy, is in the middle office, or middle window, and then myself.
Yeah, Lene and I, when I was at JFS, Lene and I shared an office, remember?
For a while, yeah. And then they moved me. They kept moving me around. I've been there 9 years, and I've been in 1, 2, 3, 4 different spaces in 9 years. So we, it's transitioned quite a bit. Any other questions? Okay.
So,
I must have done pretty good if I answered everybody's questions.
yeah. No, thanks. This was great. Very informative, and
Thank you.
we appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday to talk with the 3, 4, 5 of us, I guess. So
No
Thank-
problem. I don't mind. I do Hadassah meetings all the time and other community meetings. I've been active, especially after the disaster. So always willing to help. If y'all need anything, reach out to us. As I said, Justin's going to send out contact information. He can share my email. I get my phone calls via my email, so we answer. We have our front desk is being answered remotely by 2 different people. They share services, 2 or 3 different people now. So we're there to help.
awesome.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have a good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Lene.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Justin.
See you later.